Good morning to everybody. It's a privilege to be here. I'm Dr. Ambe Valentine from Cameroon, a political and economic consultant, and I'm glad to be here today. Thank you, Congressman, for this opportunity to present our perspective as Africans. We are from Africa, and we love Africa. And we've come to present our worries as Africans to this very exalted forum. For quite some time, we've observed a lot of things happen in our continent, and we are worried. That's the reason why we make moves from one nation to another to make sure we share our worries so that everybody in the international community will understand our plight and be able to share with our worries. Today, I want to present on the recent role of Russia and China in the continent Africa. I call it the second wave of the scramble of Africa. We had this scramble in 1884, so many years ago, and this time around, there's a second scramble. This scramble this time around is a scramble between the East and the West Bloc over the continent Africa. And for those of us who have done a comparative analysis on what happened and what is about to happen, we've come to the conclusion that Africans have to rise up and stand to defend their interests. Let me start by saying that modern-day Pan-Africanism is not hatred, bitterness, malice, or anger for other races. It is working alongside with other races, yet defending the interests of Africa. And we are here not to fight, we are here to defend Africa's interests and to present our worries so that everyone can work alongside with us. Russia's recent invasion of Africa is causing a lot of stir in the west of Africa. We have had a series of coups d'etats in this part of the continent, which we think it is not a blessing. A few persons may think something good is about to happen because people seize power through military coups d'etats, but we've come to realize that it is not the best way out. Democracy, we know, is the government for the people, by the people, and of the people. And that is the system of government we've been grown to know. Something else is invading our continent. And we are up facing the enemy in the face to make sure that we put an end to this rubbish. Russia's invasion of Africa recently is trying to undermine the tendencies of democracy in Africa. And we are standing up today to say we believe in democracy, we trust democracy, but we just want democracy to be upgraded according to the African context. Because I think democracy fits every society based on the ideology of the people. What we have in Great Britain is parliamentary democracy. And what we have in US is not the same. So I think we should confine democracy to the context of the African continent so that we can be able to live in peace. The democracy that we've had for so many years now has had and brought us so many challenges, problems, death, destruction. And this is the reason why we as Africans, we are coming to say we want to put an end to the influence of Russia in the African continent. The first thing that Russia is doing is that Russia is raising strong men, not strong institutions. The danger of raising a strong man is that when he dies, everything dies. In Europe, we have House of Commons, we have House of Lords, we have European Parliament. In Africa, we have Idi Amin Dada. In Africa, we have Muammar Gaddafi. In Africa, we have Museveni. So you have more of names of individuals than institutions. And that's the reason why when Gaddafi went out of the stage, Libya has become a land of no return because it was a man. And this is exactly what we are experiencing right now. Strong men are being raised in the west of Africa. Mali, a coup d'etat was conducted, a strong man was raised. Burkina Faso, a strong man was raised. Niger, a strong man is raised. And recently, another strong man has been raised in Gabon. For how long shall we continue to raise strong men rather than raising stronger institutions? The democracy in the West has lasted for long, and we've experienced peace and serenity to some extent in the West because we have stronger institutions. African presidents cannot be impeached. African presidents cannot be brought to book. African presidents are not summoned in the parliament to give a report of their functions as a statesman. And this is the reason why we as young Africans, we are tired of the status quo. We've come to face the international community to give us the opportunity to stand up to address issues that concern our continent. The second invasion is the invasion of China. I'll talk about the diplomatic debt traps that China has introduced in the continent Africa. I think most of us believe as Africans that, and fellow Africans who are here, China is that darling angel that God has sent to rescue us from the clutches of the West. But I bring you to a place of understanding that China is not an angel, and the debt that they give to Africans, or the credit that they credit Africans, is not helping them in any way. Most of us believe that the IMF, the World Bank, have been giving loans to Africans on a very high rate. In 1993, the interest rate of World Bank and IMF loan to Nigeria was 24%. China has come to give loans for 10%. But you see, the drama between the IMF loans and the Chinese loans is that the IMF loans are forgivable and the Chinese loans are not forgivable. I would rather live with the angel that can the devil that can forgive me than to live with the angel that will imprison me. Chinese loans are taken for very low rates. But you see, we've never had IMF seizing properties in Africa. We've never had World Bank seizing properties. But recently, we see China, because of the loans that were collected from Chinese banks and the Chinese government, most properties in Africa have been seized. For instance, the port of Djibouti, we have those challenges. China also equally is not part of the nations that borrow debts to other countries. Their debts are hidden. Nobody knows about it. But we have seen cases where member states of the IMF come together, deliberate, and cancel debts. Countries in Africa have become trapped with the debts from China. And any country that is trapped in debt has no future. I will quote this passage of the Bible that says, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. I want to believe the modern day slavery is not transferring people from Africa to Europe to work again in plantations. The modern day slavery is indebting African nations that cannot break out of the box. That idea of indebtedness is what is eating deep into the African continent. And we are crying because we are suffocating from the loans that has suffocated our government. The loans that have caused development in our continent to be stagnated. The loans that have affected even revenue of students, revenue of teachers, revenue of healthcare facilities. Because these loans are a serious burden to the entire growth. China gave loans to Zambia recently, and those loans were used to construct dams, to construct railways, to construct roads. But unfortunately, these loans came back with interest. There is a purported information circulated around the world that China has canceled loans in Africa. China canceled non-interest loans of 3.4 billion. The interest loans have so much bearing on the continent that most people, as salary earners in Kenya, can no longer earn their salary. People in Zambia can no longer get subvention from the government to supply seedlings for farmers. Government officials are sometimes frustrated because they cannot be able to pay their bills. Why? Loans, loans, loans. I don't think in the 21st century we should be again in a place where we are depending on others to survive. I think the word independence should be removed because we are interdependent with each other. We should come to a place where Africa has a say. Africa has something to contribute. Africa has a contribution in the international community. This is my plight as an African, and this is my cry for the international community. Let us endeavor to make sure that African countries are not choked with loans that cannot give the opportunity to excel in other areas. We are at a level where right now, the amount of debt in African countries cannot allow them to do infrastructural, economic, and social development. Thank you very much.